And good morning. My name is Derek DeRazio. I am the Preparedness Grants Branch Manager and Compliance Officer at North Carolina Emergency Management, or NCEM. We are a division of North Carolina Department of Public Safety, or NCDPS. And within our particular branch, the Preparedness Grants Management Branch, we manage a portfolio of about 10 different federal and state grant programs, comprising about $85 million a year. One of those programs that we manage is the CBCG, Capacity Building Competitive Grant Program. And that's what we're here to talk about today, specifically the FY24 CBCG program and how it relates to Salesforce, which is our new grants management solution. Next slide, Jenny. Is there any more slides, Jenny? Okay. I'm not hearing.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Hold on one second, Derek.
No problem.
Apologies.
No problem. And while we're waiting, I'll just indicate, of course, this is being recorded. We only have a couple people actually in attendance with us live, but it's being recorded. It'll be converted to a YouTube video and will be placed on our CBCG website for all those to view. And I do know from experience, although we only have one or two people actually in the audience joining us live, these videos get watched by a lot of folks after the fact. So we're going to proceed as per normal with this, record it, put it on our website, and hopefully get some good information out to the folks so they can watch it on YouTube. All right. So while we wait for Janine to come up with the slides, we do just want to do just some introductions real quick. We'll start with staff introductions. So I already introduced myself. Michelle Strong, if you want to go and take away, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Michelle Strong. I am a grants manager with the Central Branch. I essentially work with all the grants within that branch. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Lisa, if you want to introduce yourself, please. Lisa Patton.
Yes, hi, thank you, Derek. Lisa Patton. I mainly manage the grants in the Western Branch part of the state. And like Michelle, we manage an entire grant portfolio for our branches that maintain mostly federal and state grants. Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Chris Athey, our newest grants manager. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, thank you. My name's Chris. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the camera. I'm new here with the grants management team. I work with Lisa on the western part of the state. And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. And Jessica, I know we've already met, but if you please go introduce yourself for the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Jessica Whitesides. I'm the grants manager for Burke County. So I handle all departmental grants.
Thanks, Jessica. Is there anything in particular, any questions in particular you have or want to get out of this training today?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure I'll have questions as we go.
Outstanding. All right. Well, anytime you have a question, Jessica, please just raise your virtual hand, put it in the chat. We'll take pauses for questions as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
We'll make it as interactive as possible. Okay. There's our introduction slide. We just covered that. Okay. Next slide, Janine. All right. So getting just an overview of it, kind of already mentioned some of the stuff, but NCM as a whole, we cover about 20 different major federal and state grant programs, some of which require disaster declaration, some do not require disaster declaration. So we do about $500 million of grants a year across our organization. We got 9 different sections in NCEM, and each of those different sections are responsible for different things. Preparedness Grants Management Branch is part of the administration section. We cover 10 of those 20 major grant programs. So the laundry list is here. EMPG, HMEP, HSGP, OCGP, the whole alphabet soup is on the slide. Here we're talking about CBCG, the Competitive Capacity Building Grant Program, which is a state grant program. Again, our total portfolio across NCM, all 9 sections, is $500 million a year. We do $85 million a year in preparedness grants, which does not require disaster declaration across those 10 major grant programs. So you can see by this slide, most of the big money in grants is in the disaster declarations, right? The recovery and hazard mitigation grants that require disaster declarations. That's a little over $400 million a year that we do. But We still do 10 other major grant programs for preparedness grants, not required disaster declaration. That's about $85 million a year. That's nothing to snub your nose at. So we take our responsibilities very seriously. We have hundreds, if not upwards of 1,000 different grantees across all of our grant programs across the entire state, all 100 counties plus EBCI across the state. We deal with, again, federal and state grant programs. Most of our grantees are counties or local government entities, some community colleges. We also have a nonprofit security grant program where we deal with various nonprofit entities across the entire state, including the Charlotte regional area. So we got a lot of responsibility. This is one of our very important grant programs. We try to do training on each of our grant programs through this GYGO or Get Your Grant On training series. Right now, this week, it's in conjunction with our Western Branch Office Training Week being held at Mitchell Community College. We're doing the training 100% virtual, so we don't have to travel out there for this. And we can record the videos and put them on our website for people to watch after the fact. Normally, we travel out to the colleges, but not this time. Having said that, we've already had training on SLCGP, NSGP. We had training on the request for reimbursement process or the RFR process. And how you submit RFRs. So we've already had some of those trainings yesterday. We had office hours as well for people to ask questions about. So that's all complete. We have the CBCG training today, and then I think we have some additional training later this afternoon, and we'll complete our Western Branch Training Week. Next slide, please. So we are currently in a transition to our new grants management solution called Salesforce. Salesforce represents over a $500,000 investment for our organization to modernize our grants management solution and make it more transparent for our customers and grantees such as yourselves. So before Salesforce, right, our current legacy system, if you will, we're managing grants largely via email, right? We're emailing stuff back and forth, phone calls, email. We have a Microsoft Access database that nobody else has access to but us that we try to manage the finances in. And it's a very non-transparent, archaic system. And a lot of stuff gets lost in translation as we try to email stuff back and forth. Did you get the email? No, I didn't. Well, I sent the email. All that stuff kind of gets lost in translation, right? And you as a grantee don't really have access to your own grant information, So we've made a decision to go with Salesforce. Salesforce is, we're going to demonstrate in a minute, it's just like any other online account you would have, with an online banking account or shopping account. You'll be able to log on to your account as an organization. So as a county, you'll be a contact associated with that county. You can log on and you can see all of the grants you have with us on your website and manage those grants through that website, right? Full transparency. So it's a real step as we modernize our grants management solution to the future. Having said that, there's a transition period, okay? And this slide here is really good in detailing exactly which grants are legacy and which grants are Salesforce, okay? For CBCG purposes, as you can see in this slide, for FY23 CBCG and before, that's going to be legacy, okay? That's current process that we're using now. FY24 CBCG and beyond is all going to be in Salesforce. So if you've applied for FY24 CBCG, you should know by now whether you've received an award. And if you did receive an award, you would have accepted it in Salesforce. And the grant is now being managed in Salesforce. This training is to show you how to manage those awards in Salesforce for FY24 CBCG. That's what we're picking up today. And again, we have individual trainings for each of these other grants, as you see, that are in Salesforce in different training modules. Okay, next slide, Janine. Okay, so just to put it in context, right, like anything else in the world, right, grants have a life cycle, a defined starting point, end point. And this graphic really kind of shows it in a kind of a real clean fashion. So we kind of use this in most of our grant trainings. So the grant life cycle, it starts at the 12 o'clock or the green applications box at the top of that diagram. And that's, again, if we're talking FY24 CBCG, you have already submitted your application within Salesforce, and that application has been approved, and you've received an award letter, right? But the grant life cycle starts with that application. If you were 23 and before CBCG, you were submitted probably a PDF document, which is your application. You would have emailed it to an email box, and it would have been approved that way. But in Salesforce, it's all done within Salesforce, 12 o'clock application. If you receive funding, 1 o'clock, the yellow box, you get an award letter, right, or an award notification. Again, if 24 CBCG, you would have received that notification through Salesforce. An award letter would be attached in Salesforce for you, and you would accept your award in Salesforce. Okay, so it goes application to award letter. With competitive grants like CBCG and many of other grant programs, there's usually a much larger need than there is funding available, right? So those who applied, who received funding, would receive an award letter. Those who did not receive funding would receive a declination letter or notice that they did not receive funding. And that letter would just simply say, "We're sorry you didn't receive funding. Please consider applying again in the future," because these are competitive grants. All right, so applications, award. As we move down to like the 4 o'clock-ish area, MOA or grant agreement. Okay, we call our grant agreements MOAs, memorandums of agreement. Some folks might call them MOUs. Some folks might call them contracts. Really, what they are is a grant agreement. Okay, it is a legal contract between us and you as the grantee. Okay, saying here's the money we're giving you for this approved scope of work or this approved project. These are the rules, terms, and conditions you have to comply with in conjunction with this grant award. They're very detailed legal agreements. We can spend a whole nother class talking about the intricacies of the MOA or grant agreement. But for now, for these purposes, for this training today, suffice it to say it follows after the award letter, and those MOAs for Salesforce purposes will show up in your grant record in Salesforce after they're electronically signed through a third-party product called a SureSign that's integrated within Salesforce. So we're doing the MOA signatures not using DocuSign, but using a SureSign. It's similar to DocuSign, it's an electronic signature program, but we're doing it through a SureSign because it integrates into Salesforce. And it'll be attached to your grant record in Salesforce. So that's the MOA grant agreement. It comes after the award letter. Then moving down to the 6 o'clock part, the purple box, your cost reports or requests for reimbursement. These terms are used interchangeably. This is how you get paid, right? All of our grants at NCEM are reimbursable grants, which means that you have to pay the money upfront, complete the procurement, engage in the eligible expenditure of those funds. Then you submit the appropriate documentation to us, and we reimburse you for that if it is eligible and if the appropriate documentation is there. It is at this point that we ensure compliance, right? Because if you try to claim an ineligible expenditure, do not have the required documentation, you will not get paid. If you're not current on all your reports that are required to be submitted, you will not get paid, right? If there's any other problems with your audits or anything else that might be frustrating or delaying that payment, you will not get paid, okay? You must be compliant to get paid. This is how we ensure compliance, that 6 o'clock feature under cost reports and request for reimbursement. And again, those are all submitted in Salesforce. We're going to demonstrate for you how to do that today in our demonstration. All right, moving on to the 7 o'clock, that's your reporting requirements. CBCG, we're moving to an annual reporting requirement, right? So you have to submit 1 report a year. So again, that's a requirement spelled out in your MOA. That's part of the grant life cycle. But then let's just say, as you complete the grant life cycle, you submitted your reimbursement requests and you've dwindled your balance down to 0. You have no money left in your grant award. You're ready to close it out. Okay, that's the 11 o'clock box up there, the kind of red box for closeout that you see in the grant life cycle. And again, all this is done within certain modules in Salesforce we're going to demonstrate for you here today. So you'll submit your closeout record in Salesforce. Once that closeout is complete, we may or may not do a site visit. We don't do many site visits, but we can if we need to. But once all that's complete, we review the documentation, make sure everything's good. We will issue you a single 1-page letter, a closeout letter saying thank you, your grant is complete. And that will be your receipt to show your auditors that you complied with everything necessary for this particular grant. That will be appended to your record in Salesforce, but you also will have a copy of that for yourself to keep for your own records. That shows the grant's closed out. We're done. The grant life cycle is complete. Everything recorded in Salesforce for you as the grantee to see, and we see it as well transparently. Everything associated with that grant record in Salesforce. No more emailing things back and forth, things getting lost, keeping separate files. It's all in Salesforce to see. That's the grant life cycle we're talking about today. Next slide, Janine. All right. And now we're going to have a little bit of information about the CBCG grant program. Janine, do you want to take it away on this and give a little information about the program before we get into the demonstration?
Yes, sir, Derek. I sure will.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today about a grant program, the Capacity Building Competitive Program that I am super excited about. CBCG is pretty much been my little baby that I've had for a few years, and I'm very proud of what we are doing. So I just want to share a little bit of info with you regarding our just successes of the program and how it has been related on the county level to serve our locals. As you know, we're state funded. Started in 2022, and we have a limitation of eligible counties based upon size. This information is also found on our website. You can view that at any time. But for highlights, I just want to share in year one, we received funding of $3 million. We had 60 applications received and 24 projects awarded. This grant is now in closeout stage. We're closing all of those out. We aren't doing many site visits. Our field staff is helping with that. But that was our first year, and we're still have a few more who had POP extensions to close out. The picture on the right is an example of one of the projects that we had. This is from Perquimans County, and this is one of the first projects that was completed. They purchased this mobile command trailer as well as this small size vehicle that's off-road, has off-road capabilities. In year two, our funding went up. We received like 5.65 million, which was the highest amount of funding that we received to date. We had 70 applications received and 37 projects awarded. This process for these grants, they're in closeout as well. It's just taking a little bit of time with processing all of everyone's paperwork because we had so many projects with high dollar amounts. And I wanted to share over here, this is a really awesome trailer for animal sheltering. Really love it. It's from Avery County. They were kind enough to agree to let me show this. And this is what the funding from CBCG is doing out on a local level. When we are dealing with emergency situations, counties are being more prepared to help our folk on the local level. And for our year three, which is where we are today for fiscal year 24-25 for CBCG, unfortunately, we had a little hit in our funding. We only received 1.9 million, but that did not stop our counties from applying. 50 applications received and 19 projects awarded. And of those 50 applications, the dollar amount of the request went over $6 million. So right now, if you have received a CBCG grant, you have been notified in Salesforce already, like Derek mentioned, and we are in the process of receiving all of our MOAs. So it's a very exciting time for fiscal year 24. Just to do a recap, if you receive funding or if you're wanting to apply for future years of CBCG, these are documents that are required for all of our grants. This is not anything new. If you are a county who receives funding through EMPG or HSGP, you probably already have these documents on file, and you'll only need to update them if you have a change. Outside of that, we have the documents on file here at the PGMB, and we share that as needed. And we'll contact you if there is a question or concern. Additionally, right now for fiscal year 24, we are in what we like to call post-award grant management, which means we are going to be full-blown in Salesforce. CBCG has been the leader and piloted Salesforce, so we're very proud and excited about that. We've already had the award notification. We're right now doing the MOAs, and after the MOAs are signed and returned, you will receive that chatter saying, thank you so much for getting all of your people to sign, and here's your MOA. We are ripe and ready to go. Then as you progress in your grant, when you purchase items, you'll submit your request for reimbursement. Again, if you have questions about reimbursement requests, we did a training on that yesterday, and the recording will be on our website very shortly. So you can review that if you like. Also, you can reach out to myself or Amanda Thaxton on the CBCG team. 24 is the first year that we have had annual progress reporting. We are so glad to make this change to lessen the burden of administrative requirements on our locals. Before we had quarterly reports, then we moved to biannual reports. Now having the annual progress reporting makes it a lot easier, and these are due in the closeout stage. So we typically right now aren't doing a lot of site visits ourselves. Our teams in the branches are helping us with that. and closeout reporting is a requirement at that time. If you have any questions or need assistance, feel free to email our CBCG email box. You can also email amanda.thaxton, as well as myself, Janine.Childs. And if when you're working in Salesforce, you're having any issues with Salesforce itself, here is the Salesforce email address, ncemsalesforce@ncdps.gov. These are the people who are experts in Salesforce, but you are also free to reach out to Amanda Thaxton and myself, and we will do all that we can to assist you. I thank you so much for your time today. At this point, we're going to transition into our Salesforce demonstration, where we will then talk about how you will receive your MOA, you will do reimbursement request, how you can do your closeout, and communicate with your grant manager. So thank you so much for joining. Again, we appreciate you and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Janine. Outstanding. Jessica, any questions you have so far before we go into the Salesforce demonstration?
No, none yet.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Janine mentioned that we're rolling out our MOAs for FY24 CBCG. They're being set out in a system called a Shore Sign for electronic signature. And we believe our director signed them and they're going out to the counties. Do you know if you've received your MOA for signature yet through a Shore Sign?
Yeah, we have. And I think Mike Willis has already signed and returned it.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Great. Okay, perfect. So you're ahead of the game. And what will happen next is once that's signed and returned, we'll end up going and chattering that back into the record in Salesforce, and you'll see it in Salesforce here very shortly. So thanks for that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. With that, we're going to go ahead and turn to our demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So as Janine mentioned, we are using Salesforce for FY24 CBCG. It is a pilot program. It's the first grant we've tried to roll out in full in Salesforce. So we're learning as we go along, right? Trying to work out the kinks as we go along. So we appreciate your patience as we try to roll this system out. But most of you then would already have access to Salesforce. You know what it looks like. But when you log on, this is what your home screen looks like. Okay, this is called the community view in Salesforce. It's our grantee view, if you will. This is in production, so we have a testing environment as well, but this is actual production, real live data. You see this when you log on to Salesforce as a grantee. We have a little different view as grant managers. It's called our lightning view. Looks something like that behind the scenes, but that's a little more elaborate and detailed view than you see as a grantee. It's a mouthful, but this thing's called the North Carolina Emergency Management Grants Portal for Preparedness and Hazard Mitigation Grants. The reason it says all that is because we share this portal with our hazard mitigation section, okay? So if you're a county that receives both hazard mitigation grants and preparedness grants from NCEM, you might see both of those grants here on the Salesforce portal. So it's a combined portal we share with hazard mitigation. We're not here to talk about hazard mitigation grants today, but just be aware that this is a combined portal. You may see hazard mitigation grants and our preparedness grants on the portal. Eventually, we hope to loop in our recovery section and get our public assistance grants on here, but that's way down the road and does not happen anytime soon. So you log into Salesforce, this is what you see. You manage your preparedness grants, your hazard mitigation grants from this portal. Top of the screen here, these kind of drop-down menus, they call them objects in Salesforce. Okay, so I always recommend counties do when they log on to Salesforce is go to the object for account profile. Okay, and in this case, I have created a fictitious county called Z Alpha Test. They're the 101st county in North Carolina, if you will, Z Alpha Test. And that's my county. I'm sub-applicant Derek, the contact representing Z Alpha Test. So as you log on and anywhere you see a pencil in your account profile, you can update that data in real time. So let's just say I'm going through my account profile and I say, wait a minute, we actually hired some more folks. We have 100 employees, not 75. Click on that. Click outside the border and click save. And you've updated that data in real time. Okay. It's really important to make sure you have correct address information. Okay. If you have a website, get your website in there. Really important that you record your unique entity ID. Okay. Your UEID. Anywhere you see a little I button here or I box, if you hover over that, it gives you more information about what we want you to put in that field. Okay. So these things are called objects. The individual lines are called fields. Update the fields with your pencil icon. Get more information about the field with your iBox. Okay, this explains what a UEID is. It's a 12-character alphanumeric value you get from the SAM website. You must have that in order to receive an award from us. You must also be currently registered in SAM. Again, this tells you what that is. SAM's a system for award management, a federal system. You must have a current valid registration in SAM. It expires every year, so make sure you got the correct expiration date in here. Your FAN is your federal tax ID number. Okay, you must put that in here as well. If you know your NCFS supplier number, that's our accounting system, put that in there. If not, we can try to add it for you. This just helps you get paid quicker if you have your NCFS supplier number in here. So you can also upload your 5 required documents right here. So the 5 documents you mentioned, the procurement policy, the substitute W-9, the conflict of interest, the no overdue taxes, electronic vendor payment form. You can upload your current copies of those right here in your account profile, and you can just go ahead and maintain and update those accordingly. So as they change, you click on it, delete it, and update it. So I recommend you put your 5 required documents right here so they're on record. And these are all the contacts associated with your account. These are the actual real life people who represent your organization. We allow up to 5 contacts for each county and each grantee in Salesforce. The reason we limit to 5 contacts is because there's no cost for y'all to use this system, but there is a cost for Salesforce. We pay it as a state, and the way we get charged is basically on a per click basis. So every time y'all will click on the website, we kind of get charged for that. So that's why we limit to only 5 contacts per county to keep our cost down a little bit. So you would have up to 5 contacts per county. In this case, I'm sub-applicant Derek. All right, so if I click on myself, this is very important. I want to make sure I maintain my current contact information for all of my points of contact for my grants. And very, very important is the email address. Okay. Again, if my email address changes, simply click on the pencil and update it. This is important because Salesforce will send notifications to the point of contact for each grant to that email address. And if you don't have a correct email address in your contact record, you will not receive those email notifications. Okay, so please make sure that's correct. Please make sure your phone number is correct, right? So, for example, here I'm looking at my contact information. Wait a minute, I've got a new phone number. It's not 3335 anymore. It's 3336. All right. So I'll go ahead and change that to 3336. Click outside the border and save. And I've now updated my phone number in real time. So very simple to keep your information updated. Again, please, please, please keep your email address current and valid. Keep your phone number valid so we can contact you if we need to. Right. So that's your account profile object and your contacts. Make sure that's all updated and good to go. All right. And if you go to your home page, if you click on available grants at any point in time, this will show the grants that you're able to apply for. Okay. Right now, CBC deadline's closed. You can't apply for it anymore. There's no other grants that are open in Salesforce for you to apply for. So you see nothing right now. Right. But anytime you see these lists, they call these list views in Salesforce. See that little black line right there, little black arrow, okay? Please always do all or available grants. Do not do recently viewed, okay? A lot of folks have this set on recently viewed, and they don't think they can see information because they're not on the right list view. So please always click and make sure it says all or available grants. You can pin that view up here, so it will default to that view next time you click on it. So I have it pinned right now for available grants. In this case, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to apply for. But when there's a lot of data, if you have recently viewed, you will not see all the data on the screen. Please make sure you default that to all or available in the list view. So anyway, there's nothing to apply for right now. Next year, when CBCG open up, or when we start taking applications for FY25 EMPG, FY25 HMEP, FY25 HSGP, FY25 Tier 2, all those various applications, when they're available, will show up here for you to apply for in Salesforce. Okay, so going back to the home page, the most important object on your home page is going to be the applications object. If you click on that, and again, please, please, please hit the black arrow and make sure you do all applications, not recently viewed, all applications. You may not see everything you want to see if it's this or certainly any of these. You will not see what you want to see. Please make sure it's all applications and pin that list so you see all your applications. Because what this basically is, this is your grant file. Okay, it's your application file. Okay, as you know, in this case, the alpha test will only have 2 different applications on here. But as as we move forward in time with Salesforce and you start accumulating more and more grants, right? They're all going to appear on this page. This is where you're going to manage all your grants. So basically, this application record is your official grant record, and everything kind of flows from that application record. In this case, application 297 is what we're going to use here. It's a simulated application I've submitted for Z Alpha test. It's FY24 CBCG application. And this is for $50,000 for a trailer. Okay, is what it's for. If you read through all the information, that's what it basically says here. So I went ahead and submitted the application for that. And we have an approved application and budget. And we're going to pick up to the point in time now where we're going to go ahead and accept that award in Salesforce. Okay, so if you click on the related tab, okay, so think of it this way. Okay, we ever see these tabs in your application object for Salesforce. Okay, the details tab, this left tab, think of it like a manila folder. All right, this details tab is your grant information, your details of your grant. The related tab is that right side of the grant manila folder that has a binder clip in it that has all the attachments, right? So this is where you're going to get all the different objects related to your grant. So it's a very important tab. Details is grant details, left side of the folder. Related is all the attachments, right side of the folder. Okay, so I click on related under that application. I scroll down here. I'm going to see there's my approved budget, for one thing. Okay, I'm going to see the application history here where it's been approved, and I'm going to see my award record here. All right. Now, in this particular case, because this is a test county, we have been playing with this a lot. You're going to see a bunch of different award records here we've been testing. Okay, just ignore that data for purposes of demonstration. We'll go to the most recent one in time, which is this record 83 here. Okay, and you can sort these if you want as well. I believe. Yeah, let's change it that way. Okay, so you can see the different ones here. All right, and we are using award record 84 right here. Okay. And this would be, you've already done this for FY24 CBCG if you're a county that's received it. Okay, this is the details of your award. Okay, and normally you would see a chatter here saying, hey, here's your award letter. We didn't do it for this purpose of simulation, but you'd see a chatter with your award letter here, and it would appear in the related documents here once it was chattered to you. We didn't do that for simulation purposes, but you will see the award record. So you now have a $50,000 award for the trailer. Simply go up here under award response up in the upper right hand corner. Click that. Are you accepting this award of $50,000? Yes, I am. Thank you. Then you must indicate who's going to sign your MOAs, your subsequent MOAs or grant agreements. Anytime you see a red asterisk, that's a required field in Salesforce. So you must indicate who your finance POC is. Okay, I'm just going to use myself in this example. Type my own email address in here. Give me a second while I do that. Okay, so the way we do it is you must have your finance person be a signatory. That's required on your MOA or grant agreement. And that's because this is a document that is essentially a financial document, right? You are getting money from the state to complete this approved scope of work. So your finance person has to absolutely sign that. Finance person, it could be your budget officer, your CFO, your financial officer, whatever term you use, okay? Your kind of top dog in finance should be the one signing this. All right, so you want to indicate that information there with the name and the email address. Additionally, you can have the two other signatories sign your MOA. That's up to you. You can have your county manager, your county commissioner, whoever you want to sign it can also sign it, or you don't have to, right? You must have one, kind of up to three. You can also have up to three folks copied on the MOA once it's signed, right? So you can put, again, county commissioner, board, your board members, your EM manager, project manager, whoever you want, just add their email here and copy on it. In this particular case, we're going to keep it simple. Just have the finance person sign the MOA, accept the award. Here's our person's going to sign the MOA when we do the MOA. Hit submit. Your response has been updated. Thank you. Okay. So again, you've already did that part if you've accepted your award for FY24 CBCG. That's just a recap of what you've already done. Right. Now, if we go back to the application, okay, this is your grant record, if you will, your grant file. Click on related. Okay? And again, we're going to go back to the award record. There's a lot of awards here because it's a test county, just to be clear, okay? But you will actually see two award records that are created for each of your awards. The first one is when you accept the award. Is what we just did, award number 84, okay? Subsequent to that, once that's accepted, the grant manager, in this case, our friendly grant manager back in Raleigh, Michelle Strong, and Janine Childs are working on this behind the scenes. They're going to create a second award record. In this case, it's award record 85 for your MOA. Okay. So here, the award record's created for your MOA. So you have award record 84, where you accepted the actual award of $50,000. Award record 85 is where we go ahead and create that MOA or grant agreement. All right. So now Michelle's created that record for us. Our friendly grant manager, Janine, is going to go ahead and just chatter the signed MOA back to this award record for us. And this is simulated, okay? Because in real time, what happens is, as you know, if you have your MOA already, the MOA goes out in a client called a sure sign, right? It's equivalent to a DocuSign, but it's called a sure sign, and it goes out for electronic signature. It's signed first by our legal, Will Polk, and our director, Will Ray. Then it goes to those designated signatories for each county to go ahead and sign. Once it's all complete, we then chatter that record or attach it back into Salesforce, and then you get it, okay? So right now, Janine, if you want to take care of the chatter, please, on this and chatter that signed MOA. We're going to simulate that we have that fully signed MOA. We're going to chatter it back in the record, all right? And while I'm speaking about chatter, again, if you're already familiar with FY24 CG, you may have used this feature, but chatter is on the right-hand side of the screen. It's related to each particular record in Salesforce. This is a way you can communicate with your grant manager, okay? Chatter will also go ahead and keep track of various status changes. So you can see here where Michelle Strong created that grant agreement record for us, that grant agreement award record. That's kind of an automatic notification. But you can communicate back and forth with your grant manager with the share and update chatter feature. As you do that, you can communicate about anything related to your grant. You can also do attachments to that chatter as well. And those attachments then become part of your grant record. So we ask you to use chatter instead of email to communicate with your grant manager. Okay, that way everything, all communications about that grant are contained within that grant record in Salesforce. Having said that, of course, although it's called chatter, it's a friendly term, this is strictly a professional board. Okay, this is not for to say, hey, how's it going? How's the family, right? What are you doing this weekend? This is strictly just communication related directly to that grant record in Salesforce, because it becomes a permanent part of the record in Salesforce. So please keep all personal communications out of it. Just be very succinct, concise, to the point. Make your communication back and forth with your grant manager or grant managers, attach your documents, and be done with it. That's the way chatter works. Okay, Janine, have you chattered that MOA?
Yes, sir. It's
yes,
there.
You have. Oh, there we go. I tried to refresh my screen. All right. So there's Janine chattering the MOA to us, saying, hey, congratulations, here's your MOA. All right, your grant agreement. So now you can access the document just by downloading it here, clicking on it there for a preview. The nice thing about chatter is when you attach a document in chatter, click on related on that award object, 85, okay? It also puts it right here in your files for you, right? So this is your signed grant agreement. Again, simulated in this case, but this is your signed grant agreement. Click on that. Now, when you click on the document in the viewer, the web viewer, depending on your browser and the way things are configured, you might see some scrunched up text. It might not look perfectly clean because it's the web viewer, all right? But you always, and I always encourage this, please just download the entire document. You'll get the full PDF. It'll be perfectly formatted when you download the PDF, okay? Just because it's in the web viewer, it looks a little scrunched up there. This is basically a web preview of the document, which you can fully download as a PDF using that button. Just scroll down here. Yeah, this is all simulated, but this is what the MOA will look like. And this is where it would be signed, right? If it were signed, you see electronic signatures right here on this last page. And if this were a real MOA, you see the attachments to the MOA after the signature page, right? So this is really going to be your next step, okay, in terms of what you're going to see for FY24 CBCG. Y'all are going to get an award record, separate from the award that you accepted. In this case, it's award record 85. The award you accepted was award record 84. And attached to that award record, you're going to see a chatter with an electronically signed MOA that will appear there and will also appear related under your files. And that's going to be a fully signed, executed copy of your MOA. Now, Janine's written to you and said, here's your MOA. So you want to reply back to her. Just click share and update. You must just type the @ symbol and start typing Janine's name. And you will see her name pop up. You must select that. Okay, and that means you're going to go back and forth with Janine. You're going to say, I've received MOA. I can spell received. Okay, and so keep it simple, right? If you had to attach something, you could attach it here, again, up to 10 files. No need to attach in here, just simply acknowledging receive the MOA, thanks. And now, Janine knows, now you know you've received an MOA from Janine, and she knows you've received it, right? No need to email, no need to call, right? Just a simple chatter back. It's appended to the record. The communication's there, appended to the grant record. Anytime you receive a chatter, okay, your bell gets rung up here, this notifications tab. Okay, here I have a number of notifications. I've been using this for a test record for many other situations. But you'll see a notification up here with your bell. Also, what's really nice about chatter is you will get an email. Okay, here's where I got right here. This is the email. All right, you will get an email from the system saying, hey, you got a chatter record, okay, in Salesforce. Again, that's why your email address must be updated correctly in the contacts in Salesforce, because you won't get those notifications from chatter if it's not correctly updated. So if you have the correct email address in Salesforce, it will automatically generate a message to you. In this case, it said, hey, you got a chatter from Janine saying you have an MOA. Simply click on that email link, it takes you to this record. So it's a very nice feature. So now you have your completely signed MOA. All right, I'm going to go back into my application file. Application record 297. All right, and just to review what we have, I click on the related tab. All right, we have an approved application that's been approved with history up here. Okay, we have a approved budget here. Okay, we have our award record. I got to click view all here because it's been a test award record, but we have award record 84 where we accepted our award, $50,000 for the trailer. We have award record 85 with the MOA in it. Fully executed and fully signed for that trailer for $85,000. Okay. All right. And we have our chatter record over here. So that's what we have done so far in Salesforce. Okay. The next step, okay, is going to be the grant manager is going to go ahead and create a project for us. Okay. And looks like, Michelle, have you already created the project, 559? Is that the correct project?
Yep, that's in there.
All right, perfect. So once we have a signed MOA, you will then see a project occur. And again, I apologize. This is a test county. We're using the Alpha test. These are all projects from different tests that we ran, right? So you'll just see, you probably just see one here, not 5 or 6 of them. So 559 is the correct project number here associated with this particular award. So the project is where all your post-award management happens. Click on your project record 559 here. And what the project basically is, this is saying, hey, this is your approved scope of work, right? It's your trailer in this case that you said you're going to buy. Here's how you're going to manage that project in Salesforce, okay? You're going to see your budget information, how much money you have left, how much has been reimbursed here. You're going to see various information about the project itself, who the POC is, POP start and end date, always very important, right? Because all expenditures must be incurred within the POP. Can't buy stuff before the POP, can't buy stuff after the POP. Has to be within the POP to be reimbursed under the grant. So your POP will always be here. If you get a POP extension, you will see POP extension dates shown here as well. So this will always have your current POP, your grant award, and various things like that, all here, okay? But what's important with your project, and here's, if there's any related documents, you'll see those here on the project as well. Here's the awards associated with this particular project, your budget, your approved budget associated with your project. Your budget's made up of individual budget lines. So this is your equipment, your trailer for that budget. We're going to enter the project management features here in a minute. These are documents that are attached, and your closeout record will be here as well when we close the grant out. So the project is very important for post-award management. All right, but now I'm in the project, okay? So let's just say I want to request a scope of work modification, a minor scope of work modification. Okay, so I originally wanted to buy a trailer from ABC Trailers. Now I have a little different configuration, different vendor, different type of trailer. I'm going to request a minor scope modification. Not requesting more money, that's never available, right? Just a minor scope modification of what we're going to do. Not major scope modifications, right? But a minor scope modification. If you want to do that type of scope of work, hit scope of work request here and submit your scope of work modification to us through Salesforce. The way we're doing it before Salesforce, you have to email that to us, right? We go back and forth via email. Now it's automated within Salesforce. We're not going to demonstrate that process. It's very easy to follow. Just click on that if you want to do that. If you want a POP extension request, again, we can do a minor POP extension requests up to 90 days. In most cases, you can, and right now it's an email process, but with Salesforce for 24 and beyond CBCG, simply hit that button there and you submit your POP extension request following that feature in Salesforce. Budget amendments, again, we can't give you more money, but if you want to move your money within the different party categories, so, you wanted to buy a trailer, now you want to buy a trailer and a hitch for the trailer, right? So you want to spend $40,000 on a trailer, $10,000 for a hitch, minor budget modification, minor budget amendment. The obligation request, let's say $50,000 for a trailer, you only spent $49,000. You can request to deobligate that extra $1,000. Once you get your grant balance down to zero, you'll make a closeout request, right? Either zero expenditures or zero through deobligations, and you make your closeout request here. So these 5 items here are all done under project management by request project update related with your project for your grant award. Okay. But before we do that, we want to go ahead and get reimbursed for our grant, right? We're going to get paid for that trailer that we just bought. So again, you go under your project record here, 559, create reimbursement request form. Okay, this is how you submit an RFR for FY24 CBCG. All right, here we applied. It says the budget is $100,000 here. We did that just because this is a test case. Okay, really your budget is $50,000, but we gave you a little more just because it's a test case here. In reality, you will see your exact budget here when you do this for real. So it's saying you have money left under equipment, which is the trailer, $100,000. Okay, create your reimbursement request form. What poetic category am I claiming reimbursement for? Okay, planning, organization, equipment, training, or exercise. In this particular case, it's a trailer, it's equipment. Okay, click equipment. Okay, this is how much money it's saying I have, $100,000. In reality, it's $50,000, but for a test case, it's $100,000. What am I buying? I'm buying a trailer. Okay, how much does it cost? Let's just say it costs the full $50,000 just to make it simple. Okay, click on that, click outside the border. It inserts the formatting for you. So now you're saying I bought a trailer for $50,000. It's equipment. I've got enough money remaining to cover it. Hit save and next. Okay, this is what you must attach to support your request for reimbursement. It specifies it very clearly up here. You must have an invoice or receipt for each good or service that you're claiming, proof that an invoice receipt are paid, a summary of expenses. So this could be a Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, however you're going to do to itemize and summarize the expenses that you're claiming in this request for reimbursement. We are looking at standardizing the summary of expenses form. It might be similar to the RFR form that you're submitting now with the legacy systems. We're not sure. That may come out in the future. But for now, it's just this summary of expenses you have to upload in support of your reimbursement request. So summary expenses, proof of payment, invoice receipt. Those are the 3 things that are required. You can optionally attach other documentation if you want, but these are the three things that are required to support your RFR request. Okay, upload my invoice receipt. Simply go to upload files. You go onto your local computer here. I'm just in my downloads folder. Let that populate for a second here. I'm going to go ahead and put my invoice here, my simulated invoice, not a real invoice. Okay, green arrow means you've uploaded the document. And you'll see the green arrow here that's been uploaded. Now, the green arrow simply means you've uploaded the document in the correct place. It does not mean that the document's been reviewed and it's a good document, just simply that you've uploaded in the correct place. These documents must all be individually reviewed by the grant manager to make sure they're accurate before you're paid. This is just showing you've uploaded in the correct place. Proof of payment. Again, proof that that invoice was paid. Find this right here is my proof that that invoice was paid. We'll say it's a canceled check in this case, just pretend simulated canceled check. Green arrow, document's been uploaded and accepted. Again, not that the document has been approved necessarily, that's a good document, just that it's been submitted for review. Summary of expenditures, again, this is an Excel spreadsheet, Word document where you itemize exactly what you're claiming in this request for reimbursement. So it's going to be like a spreadsheet. So we find a little spreadsheet here. There we go. We'll use that. There's my Excel file. So now I've uploaded all the 3 required documents. I can optionally upload a whole slew of other stuff. Click on this drop-down list. There's a bunch of other stuff you can choose to upload here, including photos, quotes, procurement policies, agreements. You can just type other up here and type whatever you want. So you can upload a lot more stuff if you want to. But for now, we're not going to do anything. It's not required. We're just going to go ahead and submit our receipt, proof of payment, and our summary of expenses. Okay. Hit next. Should I create another reimbursement? No, I just spent my full $50,000. I don't need to do that. I click no. And you have just submitted your reimbursement request. Simple as that. All right.
Derek.
Click that. Yes.
Jessica has her hand up.
Oh, great. I'm sorry. Hey, Jessica, go ahead.
I do. Hey, I have a quick question. Not in particular for our 24-25 grant,
Yep.
but for
Yep.
last fiscal year.
Yep.
So I was under the impression that we have to receive goods before we can.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because
Yes.
I've not submitted our reimbursement for that yet.
Yes.
And of course, we're in the process of doing our audit, and that was a whole conversation. So I just wanted to make sure that I was not requesting until we receive our, because we did do a trailer for 23-24.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. Yeah. Please. Yeah. You must receive the good or service. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And the good or service has to be received within the period of performance, which assume it is, but that's good. Has to be received within a period of performance of the grant.
Correct. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Great. Good question. All right. So now we've submitted a reimbursement request. Okay. Here's your budget. Okay. Here's your budget lines that we have. Your reimbursement requests. Let's see here. You can always see them under your reimbursement request object field up here. Okay. And again, I would default to all up here on this black line. Please don't do recently viewed. You won't see them all. Make sure it says all. Okay. And you can see the one we just submitted right here. It's going to be reimbursement request line RRL 40 is what we just submitted. Okay, there it is, equipment, $50,000 for our trailer, right? Here's the documents we attached in support of that, our invoice, our proof of payment, our summary expenses. Now, as this gets processed by our friendly grant managers, Michelle and Janine back in Raleigh, you will see this get approved, and you will see a payment record here once they verify that the payment's made. So again, you will be able to see the status of your reimbursement request line, RRL line, whether it's approved or not. And you will also be able to see when that payment record has been created to show you when it's been paid, right? Because right now, you get electronic payment, right? Or your finance people get electronic payment. Sometimes they don't really know what that payment's for, right? Or sometimes other people in the organization don't know the payment was received. Anybody that's access to Salesforce will be able to go ahead and click back on this reimbursement request line and verify when that payment was made with this payment record. Payment record's also available as a separate object up here. You can search your payment records that way as well. Okay. So you have a reimbursement request line 40. It rolls up into request for reimbursement number 30. So the RFR is composed of individual reimbursement request lines. Because recall, when we submitted RFR, it said you want to submit another reimbursement request. If we had two reimbursement requests, you would see two lines underneath this RFR. But we only did one, so it's reimbursement request line 40 under RFR 30. Okay, and that's right there. Just if you want to see the information about the RFR, there's the associated reimbursement request lines on the right. There's the associated budget this is tied to, the $50,000 award, as I mentioned before. There's the project it's associated with as well. And these are all just active hyperlinks. You can click back and see the project under related here and see the different information again. It slices and dices the information different ways here. Okay, there's that. There's your budget again, your documents, your closeout record. All right. So I will say this to Michelle and or Janine. Has the reimbursement been approved back at Raleigh yet? Reimbursement request
Yes,
line
the
40.
reimbursement has been approved. We're about to chatter the information.
Perfect. All right. So this will show, this status will change to approved. Okay, they'll get the, that'll change to approved once it's been approved, right? And then you will see a a payment record that will also be associated with this, that will show when the payment's been verified to be made. Will show up right here. Okay. And we're really simulating this in time right now. In real life, it's state government you're dealing with here, right? So the payment process is very convoluted. The way it works is y'all submit an RFR to us as grant managers. We have to process, verify, make sure the information is correct, everything is there and valid. Then we have to submit it to, in this case, NCM accounts payable. For federal grants, it goes to NCDPS, grants accounting. Once they're done with it, it then goes to NCDPS accounts payable to actually pay it. So it's going through three sets of hands before the point in time we can actually get paid. We're simulating all that's happening now behind the scenes and moving it forward in real time. Our customer service commitment standards currently are, we try to get those RFRs when you submit them to us, whether it's in Salesforce or whether it's outside of Salesforce, we try to get those processed within 5 business days from the day we receive a complete RFR, right? So if you submit a package with everything exactly as required, we try to get that to our accounting folks within 5 business days. Then the accounting folks try to get it paid within 30 business days. So if you submit a completely perfect package, right, kind of the clock starts at that point, you submit that perfect package. In an ideal world, you're paid within 30 business days of when you submit it. The problem, unfortunately, a lot of times is sometimes counties don't submit the complete package to us, so that clock never starts. And sometimes it gets frustrating because sometimes higher ups get involved and say, how come I haven't been paid? Then you start, unpeeling the layers of the onion, and it's because we don't have a complete RFR package, right? Because everything's not in there exactly the way it needs to be in there. So please help us help you, right? And make sure that everything is in there the exact way it's supposed to be. Documentation is correct, clearly itemized. That starts the clock. Then you'll get paid within 30 days. So we're simulating all that happening right now in kind of real time. All right. So let's see if that payment record has been created for us. All right. So Jean, has that payment record been created for us?
Yes.
All right, let me just hit refresh here. All right, I am associated with reimbursement request line 40, Janine.
Hold tight a second.
And another way you can check your payments, by the way, is also just going to the payment object here. Okay. And again, I would default to all, right? Please don't do recently viewed. You won't see them all. In our limited testing so far, I can tell you this is a huge issue. People have recently viewed. They say, "Where's my data? I can't see anything." Well, because you don't have to default it to all, right? So please always select all and pin that view. All right. I'll pin this as our view and do it already. All right. And then you can simply see here by sorting by created date. And you will see the payment records here. So it should probably be like payment 20-ish once it's created that you would see here. All right. So, and we're trying to simulate this all in real time, and it takes a while really behind the scenes, but you would see your payment record here when it's done. And what would happen is, and we would also, with that payment record, we would chatter to you. So you receive an email notification saying, hey, you got a chatter. Janine just told us that we've been paid, right? And you click on Salesforce and see the actual payment record there. All right. So that's how it would work in real time. All right. So let's go back to our application, which is our grant file. Okay. Let's just simulate, the RFR has been processed and you have in fact got that payment notification. You've been receiving payment records created. All right. So now we're going to simulate that we've got a zero balance in our grant. Okay. And again, if this were a real situation, not a test situation, you would see your funding remaining here be zero. Okay. Because your entire amount of your budget, your reward, will be spent down with processed RFRs. You see this at zero. Okay. So when you saw your budget balance at zero, okay, you would then know, hey, it's time for me to close out my grant, right? Because there's no money left in the grant. Let's close it out and be done with it. All right. So let's go back to our application. Again, this is our grant file, right? Click on related. All right. And we're going to click on our project. Again, you would only see one project for this. Unfortunately, it's a test case. You see multiple projects listed here. In real life, you only see one project. I think it's project 559 is the one we created for this. You go into your project and remember the project update. Okay, you're going to click on that. Select the fifth option, which is closeout. You'll do a closeout request. So now we have submitted a reimbursement request for the $50,000 for the truck. It's been processed. It's been paid. Our budget balance is down to zero. We're going to close out our grant. Okay. Project management under project 559, request project update. Click on the fifth drop-down item, closeout request. Hit next. Okay. And this is your closeout screen. Okay. Closeout comments, keep it brief. I recommend just say grant complete or something like that. Keep the comments brief. To close your grant out, there are certain legal certifications you must make. These are red asterisk fields, meaning they're required in order to close the grant out. You must say yes to all these certifications to close it out. Okay. I'm kind of going through it pretty quick here. These are not to be trifled with, though, in real life. Please read them and make sure you agree with them before you certify. These are legal certifications. And basically what this is saying is you have submitted all required reports and all required documentation as per your grant agreement, your MOA. All the grant funds were used for the purpose appropriated, right? So you said you were going to buy a trailer. you spent that money on the trailer, not on something else, right? If it's on something else, that's fraud, right? So you can't do that. The approved scope of work for the grant is complete, right? You agreed to buy a trailer. That's in your approved scope of work. What's attachment 1 to your MOA? You're saying you've completed it. It's all done. You've submitted all required documentation, including all your various reports that are required, right? If you do an annual report or a closeout report, all that's been submitted and done. And you certify that you have all your records available, that you make them available to us upon further request if we need more information, okay? And this is telling you here, once everything is reviewed and it is complete, you must retain your grant records for a period of 3 years for a federal grant or 5 years for a state grant, once from date of closeout, right? So you have to maintain those records for further future inspection if needed. And what's also importantly telling you is once we review all of your closeout information and your grant file, if we agree that your grant's ready to be closed out, we will then submit an official closeout letter to you. We'll create a closeout record in Salesforce, attach a closeout letter to that closeout record, and you will get that closeout letter in Salesforce, so you can close that. So that grant will be officially closed out. This is just telling you what's going to happen after you submit the request. All right. So you read all that, you agree with all that, you say next. You can attach supporting documentation. So like as Janine mentioned, we may require your annual report be submitted with your closeout, right? So here you can submit your final report right here. If you wanted to do that. So let's just say we wanted to do that. You can do, let's see here, we'd probably just say, we probably have a thing here for closeout report. I don't know if we have it yet. We could add it to the list. But let's say we had a report, or you could just do other. Let's do other. All right. You're going to upload your final report here, your final annual report, your closeout report. Back to your computer. Give it a second while it loads up. And there's my closeout report. Upload that and submit it. Okay, so now I've attached documentation to support my closeout request. Hit finish. So now I have submitted under my project management request, and it shows right here under project management. Okay, I submitted a pending, whoops, sorry about that, a pending closeout request. Okay, as the grant managers go and approve this and do the things behind the scenes, this will change to approved closeout request under project management, and you will see a closeout record created here, officially closing out your grant in Salesforce. Okay, so wait for our friendly grant managers, Michelle and Janine, to do that.
All right, I think we need a quick break.
Okay, all right, no problem. All right, so Jessica, we've been going now for about an hour. If that's okay with you, we're going to take maybe a 5-minute break, and we will rejoin here in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to put this on pause and pause the recording, and please stand by. All right,
Thank you.
We're in a 5-minute break. Thank you. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We took just a quick 5-minute break because we're going so strong for an hour, and we're back with the recording again with our FY24 CBCG Salesforce demonstration. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again, and we'll resume the presentation. A second while I do that. Okay, so where we left off before our break was we were looking at project record number 559, which is associated with our application for FY24 CBCG for the $50,000 trailer for fictitious county Z alpha test. It's application record 297 in Salesforce. So we just submitted our closeout request, okay, under this project, and I believe our grant managers have went and completed that closeout request. Let's make sure we're seeing it. There it is. I said refresh my screen. So now, fast forward again. This takes a little bit, in real life, it takes a little bit of time to get to this point. We're simulating it for demonstration purposes. Let's just say all your documentation was good. All your reports were filed, right? You spent all your money. Your RFR was approved. You were paid. You submitted your closeout request. Grant manager said, absolutely, we're good to close it out. We create the closeout record in Salesforce, showing you the record, the grant is closed out. So you click on that closeout record 21. You will see where it says approved right there, okay? You also see here our chatter record from our friendly grant manager, Janine, saying thank you. It's complete and officially closed. That closeout letter, if we had generated it, we didn't really do it in this case, but it would be attached to this chatter. and it would show up here in this record here with your closeout record, right? But basically, it's telling you it's been approved, it's been closed out. Thank you, it's done. And then what you can do is you can just chatter back to Janine here, right? By sharing an update, type add, type Janine's name, the grant manager's name, and say, thanks. Greatly appreciate your assistance with this grant, whatever you want to say, and hit share. You've responded to the grant manager who sent you that notification that your grant was closed. Now, again, every time you receive a chatter, your bell is rung up here in the notifications tab. I have a number of notifications I haven't responded to, but open this up right here. So there's the chatter that we got from Janine saying reimbursement request was approved. There's your chatter. I'm sorry, here it is. I'm saying this is saying your grant record was closed. This is the one before that where she said your RFR was approved, right? So all your notifications from Janine are in here. Okay, all up there under your notification tab. And again, just to show you, I received an email as well, right? This is the last one Janine sent. Make sure I download the pictures. Thank you. Your project is complete and officially closed. And you can just click on that, take you right to the point in Salesforce where it is. And that's why you have to have your email address correct in Salesforce. All right. So that's a great way to communicate with your grant manager is via chatter. And so now, really, if you go back to your application, which is your official grant file, everything is done. Okay, you had an approved application, right? You had a budget. And again, if this were in real case, your budget balance would show 0. Okay, you have your project, which was created. And again, if it's a real case, you only see one project. This was project 559. Under project 559, you went ahead and submitted your reimbursement request line. You submitted your approved closeout request here. There's your closeout record there. If you want to look at your payments, again, there's different ways you can find it, but you can look under your payment object here, reimbursement request status here, okay, closeout status there if you want. Different ways you can slice and dice the data, but you are closed out right now for closeout record 21 in Salesforce for this grant. Going back to your applications object, again, make sure you select all applications with the black drop-down box. As you populate various grant years applications, they'll all appear here, and you can always refer to these for posterity's sake. So this is 297's FY24 CBCG. God willing, maybe application 397 will be FY25 CBCG and so forth, right? These are all your historic grant records here, preserved in the cloud for posterity. And that concludes our Salesforce demonstration. I want to just emphasize again, kind of in closing, if you will, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Our motto with Salesforce, our guiding principle with Salesforce, what we strive to be is if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen, right? Your entire grant record, all the communications for that grant record, all the documents for that grant are loaded in Salesforce in the cloud, securely secured, securely saved for all communications related to that grant, right? There's no more need to email back and forth and do other things. It's all right there in Salesforce. You have full access to the data yourself as a grantee. We have full access as the grantor. And that is our Salesforce demonstration for FY24 CBCG. All right. Jessica, any more questions that you have, ma'am, that we can help you with?
No, I think we're good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And again, this is being recorded. This recording will be posted on our CBCG website. So give us a couple days to get that up, and we have to convert it to a YouTube video and then post it. Takes a little bit of time for that. We'll make sure that gets done. Any final words from any of the staff online? Gina, anything you want to say, or anybody else want to say anything before we conclude the recording?
Yeah, thanks, Derek. For me, I just very excited about starting our 3rd year of CBCG. Appreciate the opportunity to work with our counties from around the state. And if you need any help or assistance, please continue to reach out to our CBCG email box, cbcg@ncdps.gov. Also remember chatter. Very, very important. I look forward to working with you, and let's have a great year.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate that. So for the rest of our training that we have scheduled, I believe we do have another Salesforce demonstration later today, coming up on our FY25 application process for EMPG, HSGV, HMAP, and Tier 2. So we have that coming up later today. And that will pretty much conclude our GYGO training series at the Western Branch office. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye. I'm going to stop the recording now.